And joining us now is Sister Marian Batho. And I'm thrilled that you're here, Sister, because we have known each other for a long time, as we always say.
It's been a long time, but it's been great.
It's been great.
It
really has. And you have done something very good for us. We have had a number of sisters in telling their stories, and you kind of coordinated that. And there's a week in March 8th through the 14th, which is really where we focus on the great work of sisters.
Yes.
Tell us why it's so important that we do that.
Well, I think it's important to know about the work of sisters. The theme of National Catholic Sisters Week is Meet a Sister, Be Inspired. Oh. And as we look at the charisms of the communities of sisters, you can't help but be inspired, because sisters are involved in certainly parish work and teaching. We're very familiar with those. But they're also involved in so many of the works that Pope Francis is talking about now. Advocacy for immigrants, human trafficking, care for the earth, moving the church to the margins, reaching out. So it's just important to be familiar with the newer works of sisters, but also to understand that God continues to call women to serve in the church. And serving the church is perhaps one of the greatest blessings. And to be able to affirm that, and for younger women to be able to say to them, if you're hearing God calling you, pay attention to that. Listen to that voice.
I have to tell you, what surprises me always is when I meet a sister, is to listen to their story. And we were just talking about this. I just spoke to a sister who was a pilot in Africa, a sister who majored in biology in school. So when you think of a sister, a lot of times I think people think of a very quiet, and they went to school and they went right on to become a sister, which is wonderful. But that's not always the story. There are sisters who come from many different walks of life who decide to choose that path. Isn't that true?
It's true, and I think when God calls, our God is a God of surprises. When I think of when I entered the Sisters of St. Joseph back many years ago, I never dreamed that I would be in charge of a school. I certainly never dreamed that I would be working for the Archdiocese and have the position that I have and love it so much. The needs are there, and we're asked to respond to the needs as they come in front of us, and God gives the grace. I think that's the marvel of responding generously to God, that God gives the grace to do what He asks of us.
You know, there might be a young woman out there right now, Sister, who is considering it, and yet they don't know, but they might. What would you say to them? What attracted you, and what would you say to maybe urge them to look into it?
Well, what attracted me, I remember from being from the youngest, about 8 years old, feeling God is calling me to be a sister. And I was fascinated by the sisters in the Catholic school that was down the street. And that feeling stayed with me until I went to Regis College and there met the Sisters of St. Joseph. What would I say to a woman today? Listen to that voice. Take advantage of opportunities that are offered to get to know sisters. Here in the Archdiocese of Boston, we have Fiat, which is a monthly discernment gathering for women, some of whom know sisters, some of whom have never met sisters and are not familiar with their work. But I'd say go, pray, spend some time in front of the Blessed Sacrament, and respond to invitations as you see them to get to know sisters better. And certainly if someone isn't sure what community to choose, call me. Come and see me. I'd be happy to talk with any woman who's interested.
Because there are a number of different communities too. For instance, Sisters of St. Joseph's is wonderful.
Right.
But what are some of the other ones?
Well, within the Archdiocese of Boston, there are almost 80 communities.
80?
Almost 80 communities of sisters. Now, they're here, some in larger numbers, some in smaller numbers. But it's not the numbers necessarily, it's the charism. It's what inspires the community. I call the charism the compass, the GPS that really gives the direction and keeps the sisters focused. And yes, it's amazing. And the sisters in Boston are doing amazing work. The Sisters of St. Joseph, certainly, the Sisters of Notre Dame, the Sisters of Charity, the Daughters of St. Paul, the Sister Disciples of the Divine Master, the Franciscan Sisters. We have a number of Franciscan communities, the Dominicans, and then, of course, we have our contemplative communities. We have 5 contemplative monasteries here in the Archdiocese, 2 Carmels, Carmel in Roxbury, Carmel in Danvers, the Poor Clares, Jamaica Plain, and Andover, and of course the Trappistine Sisters in Wrentham.
Right near me?
Right near you. And all of them are doing wonderful work in service of the Church. Their prayer, which really encompasses the needs of the Archdiocese and the world, and then their service. And as I say, their service, they're trying, all of us are trying to be so attentive to what Pope Francis is asking of us at this moment in terms of waking up the world and bringing the Church to the margins.
What's been your greatest joy?
I really have to say I have enjoyed every ministry that I've had, and I just feel so blessed in the people that I've known and the opportunities that I've had to be part of so many lives. People will ask, are you ever bored? Never. Are you ever wondering what to do next? Never. And every moment, as I think about my life as a Sister of St. Joseph, I say it's been wonderful, and I know it's going to continue to be wonderful.
Well, I have to thank you on behalf of Catholic TV for all you have done for us over these many, many years, and will continue to do. And thank you for being with us. If someone has a question, how would they go about finding out more?
Well, Fiat has a Facebook page. I also have a Facebook page. They can call the Archdiocese of Boston directly. Be happy to speak with anyone who would like to know more about the vocation of sister.
Well, always a joy to have you on, Sister. Very much appreciated.
Jay, it's always a pleasure, and thank you.